Hello. How's it going, people? Welcome to the stream. Welcome. Hope everyone's had a fantastic Monday. Hope everyone doing is fantastically great. And yeah, Premier League season is 11 games in. Obviously, there have been some Champions League games, some Cup games and everything. But ultimately, yeah, season is kicking off. We are at the moment in the international break, the last international break of 2024. And obviously next one will be very early next year in early January. But, of course, let's talk about Arsenal. Arsenal are 11 games in, 5 wins, 4 draws and 2 losses. So I thought today would be the right day to basically just sit down, look at certain things, how Arsenal have done, how Arsenal are doing in all the competitions they are in at the moment, still currently, and slowly discuss what we could expect potentially from upcoming games, upcoming season. The season is still ongoing, obviously, and maybe try and discuss some topics that are very uncomfortable discussions for certain people, but we're definitely gonna tackle those. And ultimately, gonna try and figure out what is happening at Arsenal. Will anything change anytime soon? And if it does change, what's gonna happen? If it doesn't, what could also happen? So, of course, if you're new around here, don't forget to smash thumbs up, don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell, all that good stuff. If you have some topics, opinions, don't forget to put it live in the chat. We're definitely gonna tackle those. And if you're watching this as a playback, don't forget to leave the comments down below, of course. But ultimately, we're kicking things off with a Premier League table. We're gonna kick things off with a Premier League table, and currently Arsenal are sitting 4th in the league, which, to be honest, is something I didn't expect based on our performances. Every single performance on some level has been quite lucky, on certain level has been quite unlucky, let's be real. But ultimately the performances throughout the season have basically left quite a bit more to desire. And I must say, we are lucky where we are, because for all the stat merchants out there, if you're looking at the stats Arsenal have accumulated during the season, and if you just solely football was played on the paper, not on the pitch, Arsenal technically should be 9th. 9th. I'm not over-exaggerating what is happening here. Arsenal should be 9th in the table, but luckily, we are currently sitting 4th. Although, there must be a bit of a disclaimer put in there, because what is happening with my glasses? What the hell? We have to say that there are 3 teams currently with the same amount of points. Arsenal, well, actually 4, Chelsea, Arsenal, Forest and Brighton. Arsenal are 4th only due to goal difference, so there's nothing too much to boast about. Obviously, the fact that we have conceded 12 is nothing great. Let's be real, because it's been quite rough. And to be honest, teams behind us, Fulham, Newcastle, Villa, they are at 1 point behind us. They literally are breathing on our necks, and basically 1 win away from us there's Spurs and Brentford, and only 4 points away there are multiple teams like Bournemouth and Manchester United. So basically it's a 2-game swing. If it goes against us, we easily could drop big as low as 8th or 9th actually. So definitely the performances have not been it, and there are many questions left to be answered. We are struggling in attack, we are struggling in defense, our midfield as well many times is struggling. It's like cheddar cheese basically, lots of holes and everything. And yeah, we are where we are thanks to luck most of the time, because there are certain games which we should have won obviously, and there are games we should have lost, but we actually somehow managed to get points out of those games, like game against Aston Villa. Let's be real, we should have lost that game, but we somehow managed to basically get the first goal of the game that ultimately sealed our victory. Somehow Watkins missed an empty net, they missed another world-class save from Raya. You could argue that David Raya at the moment has been our player of the season until this point, because given what saves was he making in the early stages of the season was just spectacular, let's be real. The double saves, the 2 saves he made against Wolves in the first game when we were 1-0 up, stroke of halftime, Strand Larsen heads the ball, Raya makes an incredible save on opposite side movement, then Raya makes a double save on penalty against Atalanta, Raya makes a double save against Aston Villa. Definitely you could tell that our defense was lacking something already then. And how quickly, how in span, genuinely, in few months we can go from best defense in the league to leaking goals like no tomorrow. It's it's very, very interesting because the personnel technically hasn't changed, has it? We have the same defenders, only Timber is back. We have signed Calafiori. So, quote unquote, on paper, we should have a better defense. But somehow it's not happening. Our midfield is also the same. We have signed Merino, so technically our midfield should be better. But again, quote unquote, it's again worse. And our attack hasn't seen change since, Henry V basically. We haven't signed a new attacker, actually if you exclude Havertz, ever? Since Jesus. We haven't signed a forward since Jesus, if you exclude Havertz, because Arteta said he signed him as a midfielder, so technically, depends how you look at it. You can count him as a midfielder, you can count him as a forward. Because he doesn't excel perfectly in any of those roles. He doesn't excel on a very great level in any of those roles. The first part of the season last year, the shallow performances, the awful performances, questionable results, the way we looked even worse. We are looking worse now than we looked then, and we thought then we looked very bad. Was due to Havertz playing technically in the midfield. And now we stuck him up top for the second part of the season last year. He scored quite a bit of goals. He went in a very good goal scoring form. And that ultimately led to this summer transfer window, where Arteta somehow decided that we don't need a striker. Havertz is gonna keep banging goals. But let's be real, that isn't the case, is it? Because as soon as you change the tactics, you change certain tweaks you make for the team, it has completely disrupted the flow of the team. Completely. What has happened in those few months to go from smashing teams to basically hanging on for dear life every time when even we are winning the game is all the questions to the manager. And at the moment, there are no answers. The questions keep rising more and more and more and more. Different types of questions keep coming in about the tactics, about the substitutions, game management, being proactive, not reactive, and other questions keep rising. Also, of course, signing players. And we get pretty much no answers. We get the same answers every single press conference, every single time Arteta goes on an interview. This was a difficult market, we did what best we could. I think we have a very good squad. But ultimately, we let players go, players that could actually play some very key roles this season. And we are where we are. We are very unbalanced as a team. Genuinely very unbalanced. We are very soft, very weak as a team, especially mentally. It feels like there's some sort of a mental issue in the team that they just cannot break out of. And at that point, it comes down to the manager. And Mikel Arteta is in the same boat as the team. They have they are in a mental block which they won't overcome. And that is where these changes need to come from. Because our attack is very stale, very toothless, very unimaginative. And the fact that we haven't signed an attacker since Jesus is one of the main reasons why. Because ultimately, unless you have world-class attack, like for example Liverpool used to have with Mane, Firmino and Salah, or when you have City when they had and still have arguably world-class attack if you count Foden, Bernardo Silva, Riyad Mahrez they used to have, Haaland, Alvarez and players like that. You need to refresh the attack basically. That's what you need to do. But Arsenal basically did none of that. Arsenal need forwards, they need new blood in the team, but what they do? Arguably nothing. We already last year had the smallest squad in the league with 25 players. But now we have even smaller squad with 22 players. So what we are actually doing here, I actually have no idea how this season is gonna pan out. Because it can go two ways. Either at some point we will kick into gear, and by some freaking miracle we might close the gap to Liverpool. Because Liverpool arguably are in the same boat as we are. Liverpool's good thing is that Slot is actually a very good manager. People tend to dismiss him because he comes from Eredivisie, but let's be real, our arguably best manager in our history came from Japanese league. And he came with fresh ideas, fresh tactics nobody expected, and instantly hit the ground running. And Slot is doing the same. People say, oh, it's the new manager bounce, same as Ange just took over Spurs and they were basically winning the league with 10 games in and everything, and they dropped off. But Liverpool have showed no signs of dropping off. Slot has found the perfect balance in the team. He has improved on Luis Diaz, Luis Diaz said himself that he wanted to leave Liverpool when Slot came in. But he sat down with Slot, Slot convinced him to stay, and you can see the fruit of that at the moment. Slot has improved, as I said, Luis Diaz. He has improved to Gravenberch to some extent. It looks like Trent has improved, and many players have improved under Arne Slot. He's playing very similar like Jurgen Klopp, just a bit more composed, bit more with some tactics behind it. Because Jurgen Klopp was a rock and roll, gun-ho attacking football. What Slot has done, he has slowed it down a bit, tiny bit, but they are still playing the same type of football. But what Slot has brought into the team is defensive solidity. Konate, Van Dijk, who is there? Robertson, Tsimikas, Bradley, Kanash, and players like that. Trent, obviously Trent at the moment is injured, but it does look to be too bad. He'll be back straight after international break, so they're not losing much. But ultimately, Arsenal and Liverpool are in the same boat. Liverpool at the moment are experiencing what Arsenal experienced last year, where most of their main guys don't get injured whatsoever. Because Liverpool they have injuries, let's be real, let's not be around bush. They have had injuries, they will have injuries and stuff like that. But they have something similar that Arsenal had last year. None of our main guys last year got injured. Saka didn't get injured, missed 1-2 games max. Odegaard was fit for the whole damn season. Gabriel, Saliba, Raya, Ben White. Name your player, he was available most of the time, and we knew our best players will be available. Let's be real. Obviously the usual suspects got injured. Tomiyasu, Tierney, obviously he was at Sociedad, but still Tierney. Who was Gabriel Jesus, Zinchenko, players like that, ultimately Partey got injured. And we did it all without them. We played Rice, we played Jorginho, we played what we had to play, but we knew the team what we have. And Liverpool at the moment are in the same boat. As soon as some of their main guys get down in the dumps, they get injured. Some, like 2-3 players of their main guys, they're also more chances than not will be dusted. There's no argument that Liverpool need improvements. They need a new left back. They need improvements in midfield. They need improvements in many places. But let's be real, the thing about them is they have deeper squad in certain aspects of the team where Arsenal are lacking that depth, more specifically in attack. They have multiple players they can play in the attack with different combinations and freshen it up all the time. Arsenal don't have that luxury, let's be real. We have Saka, we have Martinelli, we have Havertz, and then we have Trossard, who plays like 6 different positions when he plays. Then he cannot perform, arguably, because he doesn't know his main role. He came on as a substitute against Chelsea yesterday, and it was 1-1. He screwed up more than he helped to Arsenal, let's be real. Especially the last chance. Obviously, there have been discussions whether it was offside or not. There are some images showing Saliba was offside. There are some images showing Saliba wasn't offside. Depends when you pause the tape, when the pass gets done to Saliba, basically from Odegaard. Let's be real. It's all on that. And he basically ruined Havertz scoring a good goal against his old team. Then he could shush and all that stuff what he did before when he scored. It just got cancelled as well because of offside. So ultimately, there are very small margins in Premier League at the moment. And it looks like Liverpool is the only team that actually wants to win. That wants to take things seriously. They want to go for it. Rest of the teams basically are in the same boat. At some point, all of these teams can fall off. At some point, any of those teams can genuinely disappear. There are already reports that City will sign certain players in January transfer window, as they should. Chelsea, who knows what's going to happen with them, how long they will withhold, even though they have like 50 players, they can rotate all the time. Nottingham Forest at some point most likely will fall off. Who knows what's going to happen with Brighton, Fulham as well. Newcastle might start to kick back, finally get back. The same goes for Aston Villa. For Aston Villa, the issue is the Champions League. They are pretty much at the top on Champions League table as well. That's how good Unai Emery's and Aston Villa have been. Let's not beat around the bush. But ultimately, there's only one serious team at the moment in the Premier League, and that is Liverpool. Rest of the teams basically are just winging it, feels like. Obviously, the injuries in key roles for Man City are showing the weaknesses of Man City. And it's similar to Arsenal, let's be real. City have gotten key injuries to Kevin De Bruyne, to Rodri. Rodri pretty much is half the team. And if Arsenal get one of those players, that player injured, for example, Saliba gets injured, we are done. Let's be real, we are done. Let's not be around the bush. Can we withstand whole season without Saliba? No, we don't. No, we can't. Let's be real. Can we live full season without Odegaard? We just basically live for, oh, it's damn hot. We just went through month and a half, nearly, without Martin Odegaard. And that was a treat, wasn't it? People said as soon as he comes back, we will be again pushing for the win, for the league and everything. Well, he was back. He wasn't ready, let's be real. He was ready for about 70-80%. But yes, he got an assist. He gave the pre-assist to Saliba, let's be real. But ultimately, he had a very poor game. That's the thing. For me personally, he didn't have a good game. He just got an GA. And that is something that many fans also need to start to separate. GA from actual performances, from the eye test. Because those are two completely different things. Because the same thing goes for Bukayo Saka. He might have abysmally shocking game many times, but if he gets GA, he gets hyped up like he's the next big thing like Neymar or Messi, like Yamal. He gets instantly hyped to those levels. Why? Because performance compared to GA is completely different things. Yes, you can say GA wins you games and all that stuff, but for example, yesterday's Saka performance was shocking. Successful dribble. There were stats on Bukayo Saka yesterday. No successful dribbles, no key passes, no shots, no on target, no goals, no assists and stuff like that. Cucurella completely clamped him up. Yes, and there is the thing, Arsenal fans that cannot accept this reality that Saka needs help. As soon as he gets double teamed, he's done. If he gets basically exiled from the game with double triple teams from the opposing side, we lose basically half our creativity, let's be real. But top Gunners cannot accept that. They instantly try to justify that with referee not giving enough yellow cards. Oh, he was off, okay, but he got GA and stuff like that. For Arsenal, stopping Arsenal is very easy at the moment. And that is the big issue. As soon as you shut out from the game Saka and Odegaard, we're done. We are genuinely done. With Odegaard not being there, you just need to shut down Saka, who as well was injured for some time, and we are done as well. It's very easy. And that ultimately leads us to being fourth in the table. In 11 games, we have 5 wins, 4 draws, 2 losses. Last year, by the way, we finished the league on 28 wins, 5 draws, and 5 losses. So in 38 games, we drop points in 10 games, no matter how you look at it. Currently, in already 11 games, we have dropped points in 6 of them. So, unless Arsenal want to start things taken seriously and they want to win the league, they need to go on at least 20. They need to win. I would personally say their next 22 to 24 games that are left in Premier League this season. 22 to 24 games they need to win to at least go for the title. Seriously go for the title. Can they do that? No, they don't. No, they can't. Let's be real. They cannot do that. They cannot afford to do that. There is not enough in them to do that. Because this season, the way points are getting spread out, if you look even at the table at the moment, right? It doesn't look like it's going to be a 90-point season where you need 90 points to win the league. At the moment, obviously, if Liverpool keep playing like they are playing, they might get over that line. But ultimately, it looks like it's going to be about 84, 85 point season. It's nothing great compared to the latest standards of the Premier League where Man City have gotten points. It's a complete regression in terms of points. That just shows how few injuries can affect the whole season for numerous teams, how a very poor transfer window can affect the whole season for a certain team, and I'm looking now at Arsenal. Because if you in May, as soon as the season ended, came up to me and said, your summer transfer window is gonna be Calafiori, Merino, Norbert Neto on loan, who is cup-tied in Carabao Cup by the way, and Raheem Sterling on loan on deadline day, I pretty much instantly would have sent you to the asylum, let's be real. I would have called you nuts, blocked you on all social medias, I would never want to see you again in your life, because I would think you're crazy. But ultimately, at the end of the transfer window, it's a reality. Let's be real, let's not beat around the bush here. And on top of that, Edu said, oh, wait till the end of the transfer window, you will be excited. So what we should be excited about? Raheem Sterling on loan, who when joined said, oh, you haven't seen the best of me, you will see it now. And we have seen the best of him at the moment. And it's nothing pretty. It's genuinely shocking, it's awful, and I don't want to look at it ever again. If there's a possibility to cancel the loan, please do it. Genuinely, please do it. Merino, I don't know. He should have scored yesterday. He didn't. Oh, cool. Calafiori, we don't know what's gonna happen with him. Because people say, give him time. I can get that point because he has been injured for quite a bit as well. And when he has played, it's been a very hit and miss for him at the moment. Jurrien Timber has come back for MACL. It's like the Wenger meme, oh, it's like a new signing for us. Basically, that is what it is. He has, and to be honest, I was excited to see Timber back. He's arguably one of our best performers. For the last two games, okay, against Newcastle he had a shocking game, and yesterday against Chelsea he also had a bang average game. But overall he's been actually quite decent, let's be real. And I still believe that Timber playing at right back is more advantageous and more impactful for Saka and Odegaard than this playing Ben White there. Yes, they have partnerships there. Yes, they have like that sixth sense going on where everyone's gonna be. But ultimately at the moment, Ben White isn't overlapping Saka as much you would like, as much he was doing it before. Bukayo Saka in interviews is saying that he loves playing with Timber at right back because it eases the pressure on him instantly tracking back on defense. It gives him more open spaces on the attack. When Bukayo Saka a month ago said in an interview that Arteta demands his attackers to defend first and only then think about attack, it says it all. I kind of don't get it. Arteta says we should be defending as a team and attacking as the team. You could say that's the reason why we had the best defense in the league last year. But ultimately spending 200 plus million on defense alone, and then you still have to force your attackers to come back and defend, to bail out in some instances, to cover some gaps. It's nothing more than disgrace. Let's be real. It's arrogance and it's poor management. That's how I see Mikel Arteta. He has the vision how he wants to play, and if players don't want to play that way, you're not playing. You're out of the team instantly. And they cannot afford to have that. But this at the moment is leading to nothing. We balled 8-point lead. We didn't catch them up because we went 1-7 in December last year. It has gotten us nowhere. Let's be real. All this money spent, 700 million nearly. All these changes, all these tactics, ticking boxes, PRO says, and all that stuff, and it has gone nowhere. We are back in top 4. We are where we were just before we sacked Arsene Wenger. Let's be real. And the reason we sacked Arsene Wenger is because we dropped from Champions League into Europa League. And to be honest, in twilight years of Arsene Wenger, we're nicking FA Cups here or there. Under Mikel Arteta, we don't even do that. We treat them like they're side dish, like we don't want them. We don't need them, apparently. But we need them more than anything, especially since we haven't won the league for 20 years. Come on, what are we doing here? Like, what seriously is Arteta doing here? Because if we keep this up, by Christmas, we will be like 6th or 7th if we keep playing like this. And then, remember how people said Arteta has fixed this toxicity in the team, Arteta has changed the narratives, he has united fans, and united with the club, and stadium is full again. All that toxicity will slowly start to come back. Because I have seen on social media so many people say, this is the last season for them. Unless Arteta wins them Premier League or Champions League, it's time to go. It's genuinely time to go. So, at the moment it looks like we're gonna win nothing again. And people should be starting to prepare for that, let's be real. Based on our recent performances, it doesn't give any indication that things are about to change. It will get better, it will get more intense, we will start scoring more, our defense will get better, our midfield will be more solid, more composed, more balanced, and we will be the Arsenal we were in the second part of last season, or 2 seasons ago, free-flowing attacking football. it generally feels like as well like Arteta has this PTSD from 2 years ago. Now he wants total control and defense because defense wins you titles. Well, it didn't last year, did it? You had to switch to attacking football to actually give you even a sniffing chance to win the league. But at the moment, I think we are overdoing it on defense. We are inviting too much pressure on defense, and that's why we are conceding too much. Because as soon as we go 1-0 up, we sit back. 2-0 up, 2-1 up, we sit back and invite the pressure, try to hit them on counters. But what's the point if you are defending with all 11 men, and when you try to hoof the ball up the pitch in hopes that someone is there, nobody is there. Saka is playing right wing back, Martinelli is left wing back, Odegaard is somewhere in the 8th spot, even Havertz is playing at nearly at 8th spot, somewhere in between the 10 and 8 spot. There's nobody to kick the ball up to. So the reality is gonna hit hard at some point. It's just the question is whether it's gonna happen sooner or later. Because at the moment, as I said, I have no evidence and no belief that Arteta will change the fortunes of the team. We are very lucky to be 4th at the moment. We are very lucky that we have 4 draws, for example, and only 2 losses. Because it could have been a much, much worse view at the moment. We are lucky we have 5 wins as well. Because there are certain, to be honest, based on how Arsenal have played this season, we should be on about 4 wins, I would say 3 draws and 4 losses. The way how we have played and the way we should have conceded certain goals and we just got basically some dumb luck going our way. That's how it should have been. And if we look at that instance, we would be on 15 points and that would put us somewhere next to Manchester United. I wonder what Arsenal fan base would be doing then. Would they still back Mikel Arteta because he's the best manager we have ever seen? Because he's the super duper make and everything? Nobody is there. There's no replacements for him, and if we sack him, everything falls apart? Or what would be happening then? Because if you look this from the outside with objective eye, the overall scene is actually not what it seems when you are close in on Arsenal. Sometimes I generally feel like people took genuinely a step backwards and just soaked it all in from a brighter view, pretty much. Because then the scenery instantly changes. And it doesn't change to the good side, it actually changes to the worst side. Let's be real. And something is definitely wrong at Arsenal this season. Very questionable transfer window, with some random net profit necessary to be made. Then we sign Raheem Sterling on deadline day. Then we have disciplinary issues with red cards. We cannot score. We get hit with massive amount of injuries. And then Edu just quits. He stopped believing the process. You cannot convince me sitting here that there is something not right in Arsenal's hierarchy up there. Genuinely, you cannot convince me. Something is wrong. Somebody was butting heads. And we recall that all this time when we were trying to sign Merino, there was a struggle up in the hierarchy because someone in the hierarchy believed that Merino wasn't it. Let's be real. People said that it wasn't it. And Mikel Arteta basically forced their hand and said that, I want him here. You gonna sign me him. And that's how we got Merino. So who were those people? Because at the moment with Arteta receiving a new contract, 15 million a year, becoming second best paid manager in the goddamn world of football, has gotten quite a bit of power. He has his hand in every single cookie jar in Arsenal staffs, in every single department, and he's calling quite a bit of shots. It's interesting that 5 years we go in the circle and we are back where Wenger was. And it's not a coincidence. And ultimately that was the downfall of Arsene Wenger as well. It looks like it could be also the downfall of Mikel Arteta there. He has too much power. And with gaining that too much power, I also believe he somehow stepped on Edu's toes. He gained some power in certain instances where Edu should have all the power. And as soon as Edu just realized that it's not going to be his way, Arteta many times will not listen to him, he just said, bin it. Bin the process. Process is done. There is nothing in the process I believe in anymore. And he just said, peace out, nerds. I'm out. And that again tracks back to the last year when we signed Kai Havertz. Because you cannot convince me that Kai Havertz is Edu signing. because it genuinely was Mikel Arteta signing. The way he spoke about him in interviews, the way he described him, the way he praised him, persisted in playing him throughout this whole last season, half the season in midfield, then in the attack. There is no other indication that that's Mikel Arteta signing, and he was playing him just because he had to justify spending 65 million on him. And ultimately, Kai Havertz partially will be the reason Arsenal will succeed or Mikel Arteta will get sacked. And at the moment, it looks like he will get sacked if he keeps this up, because I guarantee you, in another 11 games, we won't be fourth in the table. We will be most likely lower than that. We will be in a top 4 battle, top 6 battle at the end of the next 11 games, basically by the end of the year. Because, as I said, I have no trust at the moment that something will change at Arsenal. We are now going on international break, right? At the moment, we are going into international break. And here is the latest news on Martin Odegaard. He will join up with Norway and with manager Solbakken in the Nations League games. Interesting, isn't it? Obviously, I get the point that he may need some games. Norway at the moment are on top of their group due to goal difference. They have the same amount of points as Austria, and the winner of the group, I think, gets the guaranteed spot in World Cup 2026. So that's why I think he's been called up. And I can guarantee you he will play in at least one of those games. Slovenia is the away game against CSKA, by the way. And the other game is home game against Kazakhstan. Now, if Norway win both of those games, more likely than not, they will be the first in the league, in the table, in the group, and they will qualify. But they need Odegaard. Obviously, the last time when he rolled the ankle and everything, it wasn't a great look. It was against Kazakhstan as well, if I'm not mistaken. And as soon as he got taken off, Norway scored 2 goals. Interesting how the world works, doesn't it? But ultimately, the fact that he is going out to the international break to Norway is a very worrying sign. Because you could see yesterday as well that he is not ready. You could see how he steps up to passes, how he controls the ball, how he's taking shots, that he hasn't fully recovered yet. He is about 70 to 80%. You can genuinely see that if you watch back the tapes. So, if you're not 100%, you shouldn't be going to your national team. I get it, it's a pride thing. You love playing for your country. But the most Norwegians I know, they don't even rate Odegaard. Genuinely, they don't even rate Odegaard. Yes, he's one of their highest, brightest names, together with Sorloth, together with Haaland, and maybe some other names here or there, but ultimately they don't even rate him that highly. So, I'm not sure what's going on there, because for me, if you're not 100% fit, you should not be playing, unless it's genuinely elimination do or die game. I've played in some of those. It's genuinely when you're injured, it's hell on earth. I've played in some of those, I can speak from experience. Through pain, through everything, on painkillers and all that stuff, it's hell. Let's be real. And if you're not 100%, you are more vulnerable to injuries once again. Which means there is a possibility that he can get even more injured due to that, because he hasn't healed fully yet, and maybe even properly. And that also brings us back to Bukayo Saka and Declan Rice. Both of them came off yesterday, and they told themselves to Mikel Arteta they cannot continue. So how bad is this broken toe for Declan Rice now? Both Saka and Declan Rice have been called up to England internationals. What's going to happen there? Will they stay at Arsenal? Will they fly with the team? Because it hasn't been confirmed as well. It's also up in the air what's going to happen there, because at the moment I haven't read anything. Obviously, during the stream we're going to go through these things, but what's going to happen there? Bukayo Saka limps off. He had a very awful game, by the way, yesterday. Cucurella is still in Cucurella's pockets, let's be real. And he did nothing last game. His stats from yesterday's game was actually shambolic. Genuinely shambolic. Zeros everywhere in 81 minutes. So that is also a big question. What kind of injury Bukayo Saka has? If he has to be taken off instantly. You could say it's a precaution, but let's be real. He has also recently come back from an injury. He's getting basically ran into the ground with no proper backup. And it's also starting to take toll on him. If last year we escaped injuries to our main guys, and that includes Saka, Odegaard, Declan Rice, Saliba, Gabriel, White, and players like that, let's look at this season. White has been injured quite a bit. Odegaard has been injured. Saka has been injured and is now injured. Declan Rice has been injured. Even Havertz got his head busted open, and the best thing, to be honest, yesterday what he did was putting the jug of Vaseline on his head to stop the bleeding. Pretty much, that was the best thing he did yesterday. So ultimately, at the moment, it feels like we are paying the price for not proper recruitment. And now again, with 600, nearly 700 million spent, it comes down to Edu, it comes down to Arteta, and as well it comes down to Kroenkes. It's all about the ownership and the people in charge. Let's be real. Because if we had proper replacements for those players and we could actually take them off when the actually necessity demands it to, or we just can't afford to do it, we should. But at the moment, with no proper backups, what's the point? Genuinely, what the hell is the point in taking them off? Might as well leave them there, because we have Sterling who can play right wing. Arteta has looked at him and looks like, nah, I don't fancy him. Bukayo Saka plays full 90 in a game where he doesn't have to. He shouldn't have come on against Preston, for example, for the last 15-20 minutes as well. Why was he even subbed on? Let's be real, 3-0, it was Preston, for God's sakes. Why are you subbing on one of your best players? And it also, if you want to coincide with this, it comes from here. Apparently, Arteta is concerned by Sterling in training as well. Performance levels might not be up to scratch. Might not be up to scratch, as it says. We heard that, by the way, in the beginning of this summer transfer window about Fabio Vieira. Mikel Arteta was displeased with how he trains. He was looking maybe to ship him off. Then a few weeks later, everyone was all again happy. Arteta said everything's fine, everything's dandy. Fabio Vieira, this will be his breakout season. Fast forward few weeks, he's been shipped off back to Porto on loan. We paid 35 million for him. He's been here for 2 years, half the time been injured. He has scored one banging goal from long distance against Brentford. He has given a few key assists against Wimbledon or something, gotten a red card against Wolves, and since then pretty much has done nothing. Money well spent, isn't it? Money very, very well spent. And let's be real, those 35 million could have been used somewhere else to sign a proper player. We could have even signed Kudus for that money. Let's be real, add a few million on the top. We could have signed Kudus as a backup for Saka, backup for Odegaard. He can play on the right wing through the middle. Even as a false 9, number 9, he can play at times. He has played there for Ajax. So why the hell we didn't do that then? At the moment, he's available for 80, 90 million from West Ham. Do I want that? No thanks. 90 million now, for what? Like, the incompetence in recruitment and scouting is actually embarrassing, let's be real. Genuinely, it's embarrassing. No backups, no developments, no improvements, no nothing. And let's look at this so-called fixed defense, right? Genuinely, this so-called best defense in the league last year. How in few months we have gone from best defense in the league with pretty much the same personnel as last year, we have gone to this. Arsenal have failed to keep a clean sheet in their last 7 Premier League matches. Chelsea, Newcastle, Liverpool, Bournemouth, Southampton, Leicester, Manchester City. Last clean sheet was 1-0 win against Spurs, where we scored from a set piece. By the way, we have scored 2 set pieces this season. Set piece FC, yeah? Let's be real, we have been found out. We have been found out. We are doing the same thing every single game, every single time, and it was bound to happen eventually till we get found out. And at the moment, we are keep doing the same things. And let's be real, who was it? Einstein, I think it was, who said that it was definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and over again, expecting different results. So, unless something changes, it will keep on going. It will keep on going. After this international break, we have home game against Nottingham Forest, who are right behind us, just on goal difference in the league. Then we have to go away to Sporting Lisbon. They just spammed 4-1 again. They just spammed City 4-1. Like, it's not gonna get better. And to be honest, we are going away to Sporting Lisbon. And Arsenal haven't scored an away goal in Champions League match in this calendar year yet. Every single game we have lost 1-0 or 0-0. It's a draw against Atalanta where Raya saved a penalty, made incredible double save on Retegui. So it was 0-0 there, 1-0 to Inter, 1-0 to Bayern Munich, and we lost 1-0 to Porto. So again, in away matches in Champions League, we cannot do anything. Oh, but as people said, Champions League might suit Arsenal better because it's a quicker football. Arsenal could exploit themselves, scintillating, dangerous, scary wooga attack. Where is it? We barely managed to even get a shot on target. Against Porto, the 41-year-old Pepe pocketed us like no tomorrow there. Against Atalanta, did we even look like scoring? Like seriously. Didn't create anything serious there. Obviously, it's because Odegaard was injured. Means nothing. You should have replacements there. Should have some solutions for that issue. But you ship off Fabio Vieira back to Porto. I'm not saying he's a good option, but he's still an option. You sell Emil Smith-Rowe, who you last January transfer window promised the world in playing key role in the title race. But during the second part of the season, he plays 2 games. One, he gets man of the match against Luton Town, and the rest of the games he doesn't play or plays 10 to 20 minute random cameos. And Emil Smith-Rowe did what I really respect him for. He said, "This is not for me. This is not flying for me. I want to play." Hands in transfer request. See ya. He's at Fulham now. Balling out, by the way. Fulham are 1 point behind us, by the way, as well. And how comes Emil Smith-Rowe leaves and he doesn't get injured? He's fit all the time, pretty much. Yet at Arsenal, he was injury after injury after injury. And there have been numerous reports about this, that Arteta's training regimes are so grueling that the players get injured more often than they are fit. And given the fact that half of our back line are injury-prone players, we are lucky that we even have a defense in a way. We had to resolute at times to play our best midfielder in Thomas Partey as a right back. Like, seriously. And this all again comes down to poor recruitment. We signed players like Zinchenko, who we outgrow in 1 season. We signed Kivior. Why? I'm not even going to talk about Pablo Mari, Cedric Soares and players like that. I'm talking just about recent years. Imagine you're 8 points ahead of City in the title race and you sign Kivior as your defensive improvement. When Saliba gets injured, you play Rob Holding, you try to place Kivior there. What Kivior does? He ties his shoelaces in goalkeeper's box, our goalkeeper's box, while the opposing team scores a goal. Then you sell us PR that Kivior has broken the pace record of Theo Walcott in training. Yet on the pitch, he is just as fast as Per Mertesacker. Like, what is happening here? Genuinely, all comes down in just poor recruitments, let's be real. I did a video a few days ago where I talked about money wasted on signings. And from those nearly 700 million spent, half of it have been on subpar signings that are not good enough. Jesus, Zinchenko, Kivior. Who else is there? Jesus, Kivior, Zinchenko. Obviously Pablo Mari, Runason, Ryan. Even Ramsdale at this point, let's be real. He got us to that place where we can fight for the titles. What Arteta does? Peace out. I got my toy I wanted before you. Because we signed Ramsdale in the same window we wanted to sign Raya. Just the Brentford, I think it was at the time as well, said, we don't want to sell David Raya. We want to keep him. So what we did, we went to Sheffield United and we signed Aaron Ramsdale. Ramsdale grows with us, helps us to get in the title race, was one of the sole reasons why we were in the title race at some points. And then he sees, Raya is available in the transfer window. I can get my actual shiny new toy I wanted before Ramsdale. He signs Raya on loan and then exiles Ramsdale from the squad. He doesn't pay much whatsoever. And to be honest, if you wanted to sell him, you should have sold him the season when we signed David Raya on loan. Because at the time, it was reported that it was reported that Aaron Ramsdale is the most expensive goalkeeper in the world. So how comes you don't sell him then, you marinate him on the bench whole season, and then you sell him next season for 1/3 of the price you could have gotten for him? Again, it's not just we are bad at signing, we don't even know when to sell. Half the contracts we let them go for free, other half we basically bin them. We pay them off to leave. Willian, Guendouzi, Pepe, Aubameyang. Like, it's pathetic and it's embarrassing. Genuinely, it is embarrassing. Big up Nathan in the chat. Big up my guy. Big up, big up, big up. You don't get notifications. Interesting. Is YouTube doing something here? Exactly. Same will happen with Tierney. Genuinely, unless... When does Tierney's contract runs out? Where does Tierney's... Kieran Tierney's contract... Wait, you cannot see. Wait, let me just find it. Kieran Tierney, let's look at Transfermarkt. Kieran Tierney's contract runs out in 1.5 years, in the June 30th of 2026. In June 30th of 2026. So basically, if Arsenal want to cash in on him, they should be doing it right now. In this January transfer window, if they want to get the best value. But how come how will you cash in on him if he was injured and when he will be fit you won't play him? So he cannot show off that he's in good form. It won't add up anyhow. And I still will stand by this. The fact that Tierney is our best left back in the team. He can cross, he can shoot, he can pass, he can defend actually compared to our other left backs. And he's very solid, he can play left center back. Only thing he doesn't do what Mikel Arteta always wants to do is invert. But look at the best players, best managers, how they play. Do they invert? They overlap actually. Does Ancelotti invert? Does Inzaghi invert? Does Conte invert? Even Pep doesn't invert as much anymore, let's be real. So, what's the point? All we need to unlock Martinelli. That overlapping run from our left back actually would open him. That actually would help him. But we actually invert from there, so why bother, right? Why bother? Tierney is actually our best left back in the team. We have spent what? 45? Yeah, on Calafiori. We have spent 35 on Zinchenko, that's 70, that's 80. And who else we signed as a left back? We play Timber there, but that's a bit deep. We play our right back at the left back, basically. That's what we're doing. Kivior, we play Kivior there. 30 million nearly. So 130 million, no, 110 million on left backs alone. For that money, you could have signed, well, any other left back, let's be real, in the world. But you had perfectly good left back in your team. But the only reason you don't play him is because he doesn't invert. That's genuinely mismanagement of a proper player. That is also disrespect to that player. And that is arrogance on your part. Nothing more, nothing less. Genuinely nothing more, nothing less. Just play 3 at the back. Exactly. That's the thing. Arteta played 3 at the back / 5 at the back when we won the FA Cup. He did that. Tierney was actually playing there with over-the-top balls to Aubameyang. I remember those days. How comes he doesn't do that with Martinelli, who has the pace actually there? He could do the same thing. To be honest, Tierney would be immaculate in a 5 at the back as a left wing back. To run down the down overlap and everything. He wouldn't even need to do that much defending. Because he would have 3 center backs. Obviously he can track back, defend and help him in those terms. But he wouldn't need to do that much. Okay, you can play Calafiori as a left-sided center back because in Bologna he played there for the last 2 seasons. Before that he was actually a left back. So 2 years he was playing as left-sided center back most of the time. Then you can play Gabriel as a center back and Saliba as a right-handed center back. And then you can play Timber as a right wing back. Both wing backs. Good going forward, good coming back, good with passing, good with shooting, can overlap, can cross the ball. Amazing. Amazing. Then you can play in the midfield. Let's just say play 4-3-4. for 3-4-3, sorry, 3-4-3 formation, right? In the midfield, you can play Partey and Odegaard, Rice and Odegaard. On the wings, Saka. You can play Martinelli, and you can play Havertz up top. Sounds pretty simple to me. Why we haven't explored that option even in preseason games? Just testing it out, why not? Maybe it could work actually. Oh, but it's hard to invert from three at the back, by the way. It's actually hard. Like, it's actually crazy when you come to think of it. And this actually also could work. Put Martinelli at right wing back, imagine him overlapping Saka. Yeah. You could also test that out, because Martinelli defends half the time anyway. He has the press, he has the stamina to do it. If you need him, you can sub him off. If you want to change something, you can change formation mid-game if you want to 4 at the back as well, and put him on the wing. Martinelli can do that as well. Obviously, his potential technically would be a bit wasted, but as a right wing back, he could do what he does best. Basically, put his head down and just like a speedboat run down the byline. He could actually do that, let's be real. And then put in a cross. The thing is though, never gonna see that. And while we are on the subject about Martinelli and Saka, right? How comes we never see them switching sides? Because Arteta has this fetish of a right-footed player on the left side and a left-footed player on the right side. That was a simple thing what Maresca did yesterday, and it resulted instantly in a goal, by the way. Because he took off Madueke, he subbed on Neto. Neto went to the right wing, by the way, not left wing. He went to the right wing. An instant impact. Partey, for some god frickin' reason, decided to play center back there. I don't know why. Which basically opened a gap as wide as Grand Canyon between the midfield and defense, where it had proper chance for Neto to run in, one touch, bang, bottom corner, it's 1-1. Like, how comes Bukayo Saka and Martinelli never switch wings, for example? Why he doesn't ever do that? Why he doesn't throw a curveball, basically, in these things? Similarly, like, for example, De La Fuente with Spain. He has Yamal on the right, Nico on the left. And sometimes when you watch the game, they switch sides. Yeah, Yamal plays on the left, Nico plays on the right. I still believe that Nico is more effective on the left, by the way, and Yamal on the right, but he does that and he throws opponents off because the strong foot isn't anymore on the inside, it's on the outside. It's very hard to defend. Genuinely very hard to defend. Like, basically convert Martinelli to prime walk-up because all I hear is at least he can defend. Basically, that's the same thing. Similar like Odegaard. Basically, that's why he was playing him in that left 8 role. Because he runs all the time. He invades space. He's like an alien space invader. That's what basically what Havertz was doing. That's why he was playing him left 8 through the first half of the season. That's okay that our attack is non-existent. We don't have chances. We don't have a target man. Just play him in the left 8. Then he decides to stick him up top. He goes in a good goal scoring form. Scores about, 12, 13 goals in the second part of the season. And that was actually the worst thing that could have happened to Arsenal. Because that instantly told Mikel Arteta that he doesn't need a striker. He can live without one. Havertz definitely is going to do that again. How is that working out for you? Let's be real, if we sign Gyökeres, but no, too expensive. Although Gyökeres, low-key between the lines, admitted himself that he got pissed that he didn't get a move. Osimhen, on loan at Galatasaray at the moment. Tony, plays in Saudi, by the way. Could have easily gone in for 40-45 million. There were options. We needed a gunman up top to cross into to get the ball. Oh no! Havertz was on a good goal scoring form. What's gonna happen with that? Arsenal offered money to Šeško. Reason Šeško didn't join? Because he got told Havertz is gonna be the number 1 striker. What's the point? If there cannot be actually proper competition for the striker spot, what's the point for anyone to join? If there's not a proper competition. Same goes for Saka and Odegaard. I generally believe there's a big reason why we haven't signed backups for them is because whenever we go to sign a right wing, number 10, we instantly tell them, well, you're gonna have very limited minutes because Odegaard is number 1 and Saka is number 1 in those spots. Only way you're gonna play is if they are injured pretty much. Maybe some Carabao Cup games on occasion, FA Cup games. But how can you have a squad at the top of its performance, at the peak of their abilities, mentally, physically, every way you can imagine, if there is no competition for the spot? Because Odegaard knows, Saka knows, they can drop stinker after stinker after stinker, and they will never get subbed off. They will never have to hold the bench, ever. Like, seriously. No, Neto is a right wing. Exactly. But that's the thing. He plays left wing or right wing, depending on situations. But many times Neto plays also left wing for Chelsea. What Maresca did in that game, he basically subbed on Neto for Madueke for the right wing spot. Madueke is right-footed. He completely changed the game on Timber completely, and it showed. Obviously, Partey is a big fault because he wasn't holding the number 6 spot properly, but at the same time, same thing applies. This fraud is here 5 years and only attackers keep bodies. Exactly, that is the case. And at the moment, since already in the preseason, it was kind of evident that Trossard was annoyed with something, let's put it that way, because he wasn't celebrating and everything, right? But during this whole season, especially since the Saudi offer came in and Arsenal turned it down because it was September and Arsenal couldn't find a replacement and all that crap, he has pretty much, it feels like he's playing against us than for us. He has done more good than harm. He has had one good game against PSG in number 10. That's where he had his best game. Since then, he has done nothing. And to be honest, you can't blame Trossard for that. At the same time, how can you be consistent when your manager plays you in about 60 different positions on the pitch? You're on the left, then you're on the 10, then you're in an 8, then you are playing on the right, then as a 9. Like, what the hell he's supposed to do? Like, there is no consistency with this. And this is where one of the biggest issues with signing players that are Swiss Army knife type players that fit in multiple positions lie. Because there should be certain players, for me, who are specialists in their spot. Because the only specialists in our team for the spot pretty much is Saliba, Gabriel, obviously Raya goes without saying, Odegaard, and Saka. Maybe Martinelli. Rest of the players can pretty much play wherever Arteta wants them to play. You need a right back? Oh, we have White, Tomiyasu, Partey, by the way. We have Timba. Oh, you need a left back? You have Kivior, Zinchenko, Skelly, Calafiori. You have Timber can play there as well. You need a number 6. You technically have Rice. You have Jorginho. You have Partey. There is no one specific player for certain positions. And one of those positions is the striker spot, where you need a specialist. How can you have a guy who cannot finish on consistent basis? A mediocre type of finisher up top, and you want to win the league with him? Like, seriously. That's like me running a company, for example, in marketing, and as the main marketing manager, right? I hire I hire basically, I don't know, a bus driver. That's basically the same thing. He's not qualified to be there. He maybe can do something, but he shouldn't be there. He shouldn't be playing there. He doesn't excel in that. So why the hell we are doing that? The core of your team must be specialists, the wide players. Exactly. At least down the spine of your team, you should have specialists. Goalkeepers, center backs, number 6, number 10, arguably, and the striker. All those players should be specialists. Then wings can be versatile because you can switch them and rotate them. Number 8 is a 50-50 one depending. And wingbacks also should be able to switch on some level. But there should be also somewhat consistency that they are specialists in those positions. Because at the moment, every single left back we have in the team is actually not a left back. Calafiori is a center back. Kivior is a center back. Timber is a center back / right back. Zinchenko is a midfielder. And Skelly is technically a midfielder who also plays left back most of the time. Our whole only left back we have in the team that's actually a left back is actually Tierney. Like, we have center backs playing basically every single defensive spot. It's actually mad. And on top of that, we play our best midfielder as a right back if basically push comes to shove in certain instances. We need Calafiori left back. He has lots of proof still. Jesus should go at left wing and Trossard should be... Jesus should be playing right wing. For me, Jesus most effective is on the wing, arguably right wing, but I can see the point him playing on the left. Because most successful seasons for Jesus, even at City, was when he was even starting as number 9, but mostly drifting wide at the wing, and then someone else like Mahrez plays in a 10, Sterling plays in a 10, Kevin De Bruyne runs into that 10 spot, and players like that. He actually didn't have a proper number, number 9, not even number 10, number 9 spot. He didn't even have that. We should have... Nah. To be honest, at the moment, let's be real. Ketsia, Jesus, there is no difference. Genuinely, there is no difference whatsoever. None whatsoever. We sell Jesus, we sell Nketiah, no difference whatsoever in that regard. Only thing is, it was easier to sell Nketiah than Jesus because of the wages. That's about it. We need Zidane for a new coach, a new goalkeeper. It's always Rayo. We need something new. We definitely need a new manager. Definitely. But obviously, until top gooners catch up and they actually open their eyes and there's some riots maybe start to go on and some... Actually, they will start to express themselves what they actually are thinking, and instead of basically sucking up to the club, nothing will change. Because all these Arsenal social media devs and everything see what we are saying here. And at the moment, people who want Arteta out is a big minority compared to who are Arteta in, let's be real. For me, goalkeeper maybe should not be changed. Is Raya the best of the best? No, he's not. But he's good, he fits what we are doing at the moment. Obviously, different manager could have some different ideas. For me, what we need is a new attackers. Because only attackers Arteta has signed is Jesus, Trossard, Marquinhos. That's about it. Because Havertz came in as a midfielder, so we haven't refreshed our attack since we signed Jesus. Obviously, Havertz was a last-ditch option pushed from midfield into attack, basically. When shit hit the fan and everything, we had to shove Havertz up top, and Arteta said himself he signed Havertz as a midfielder, not as an attacker. But we haven't signed actually a forward whatsoever. Trossard, but before that we wanted, Mudryk? Obviously that didn't work out, but you never know how Mudryk would have looked at Arsenal after after 3 years. We will never know. Maybe he would have been much better, because Mudryk has had about 10 managers at Chelsea. And getting in Chelsea's front line, is as much players they have, is actually very difficult. Who knows? But ultimately, we have signed Jesus, Trossard, and Marquinhos. And that's it. And Marquinhos, by the way, is still here. He's still on loan at Fluminense. He's coming back in January. Don't forget that. We need new blood in the attack. We need a backup for Saka. We need a proper number 9. You could argue we need actually a proper left wing. If last year we all were crying that we need a left back, basically a proper left back, to have proper midfield, to help the left 8 and to help Martinelli, then this season our whole left side is screwed. We don't have left wing one, proper one, consistent one. We don't have a left back consistent one. We have played every single available player we can play at left back, besides Tierney. And in left 8 as well, it's actually a mess at the moment. We will see what's going to happen. By the way, credit where credit is due, by the way, for yesterday, right? When Merino came on for Rice, that Merino Partey midfield, as slow as you may think it is actually, we looked somewhat dangerous in the attack. Credit where credit is due for that. That Merino Partey midfield actually looked quite decent. But I'm not saying it's the way we have to move forward. Gonna put it out there straight away. It may look good for one game, but ultimately it was not good enough. How 5'8" Caicedo, a smurf basically, was bullying every our player with no repercussions from our players. We are a family. Families should stand and fall for one another, should defend one another no matter what. But what Caicedo was doing, he was going basically punching every of our players in the face. And our teammates, other players were just, oh well, that happened, let's move on. They basically pretend it didn't happen. We are very soft in that regard. Imagine if we had Patrick Vieira, Tony Adams in that team, Sol Campbell, players like that. Do you think they would stand for such crap? Even Granit Xhaka, he was the last bad man, as much as people hate him on some level. He had one good season, season and a half good at Arsenal. He always gave his all. He always was available, pretty much never injured. But he was one of the last bad man in the team who basically would stood up to anyone who tried to disrespect the manager or the players. At the moment, I don't see any of our players doing that on the pitch. A 5'8" Smurf was bullying our whole squad basically yesterday. Just pathetic. Genuinely pathetic yesterday in that regard. Would we win Premier League if you put Arsenal Giroud in this team? We would score more goals. The hold-up play would be quite excellent. Giroud was a master in one-touch finishes. With the first time finishes, he was fantastic with his left foot. I generally believe that having Giroud type of player in our team would solve quite a bit of problems in our attack. I definitely believe that. Because Giroud was one of those players where you had to pay attention to him. He was very good in the air, he was tall, he was a bully, he was very physically strong, and it was very hard to handle him. At the moment, Havertz is 6'3", yet he has strength and agility of a piece of paper, basically. Wind blows and he's just generally falls over. Or take Havertz out and put... Oh, if we had in this team, if we had RVP or Alexis Sanchez, oh boy, we would have won the league in the last 2 years. Obviously, depends how Arteta would utilize them. Because Arteta doesn't give our players the freedom they deserve, let's be real. He just boxes them in a systematic way. Players like RVP, players like Alexis, even Ozil, they need freedom. And that's what Wenger gave them. He gave them free roam type of role where they could just basically travel around the pitch in open gaps, open spaces, and get in the positions they like to for the best opportunity to score or get the ball. Under Arteta, we don't see that. Our players are basically kind of glued and stuck in certain positions, in certain places. And I generally believe if we even had prime Alexis in this team, Alexis would have handed in transfer request a year ago, 2 years ago. Because he is not that type of player who would want in his prime to sit in a certain box Arteta has built for him. He needs freedom, he needs space, he needs movement. And the way we play at the moment, we have none of that, let's be real. I feel like we should get more experienced strike. Exactly. We generally could have, for 40 million euros, we could have signed Dovbyk and Morata this summer. For 40, we could have signed Tony. Who else was there available? There were quite a bit of those. We need backup writing for Saka to give. Exactly. He just doesn't need a rest. He needs competition. He needs actual competition because so far it's been shambolic. Wait, I can see if I can find you. Bukayo Saka's stats yesterday from Chelsea game. 0 goals, 0 assists, 0 shots, 0 chances created, 0 out of 4 accurate crosses, 0 out of 3 successful dribbles. He needs another backup, a competition for him. So when he drops stinkers like this, 1, 2, 3 games, he holds the bench and he knows that his spot is not guaranteed in the team. Because this just cannot continue. Vieira, Jesus, Zinchenko, exactly. 120 million wasted on those 3 bums alone. Add 30 million for Kivior, 150. Like, you could just add certain players and it's just astronomical amounts we have wasted. And for that money, 120 million, you could sign Barea, Bruno Guimaraes if you actually were serious enough, and other ones. I'm currently hearing that there's a possibility Tchouaméni from Real Madrid might join Liverpool. That's what I'm hearing at the moment. Zubimendi to Manchester City. Like, and Arsenal at the moment are linked with what? 17-year-old? For midfield, Merino, Odegaard and Rice, and at forward, Gabi, a new striker, and Saka. Potentially could work. We need something new. We genuinely need something new in the team. We need strong midfielder that can defend and make our team more stronger on the ball and to take our... We need someone strong, physical. We need someone who is well based. You know, like people, you know, for example, Pepe, the center back, Portuguese, right? He was one of those players you hate, despise to play against. So as Diego Costa, the Spanish striker for Chelsea that used to play, and for Atletico Madrid. One of those players you hate to play against, but you love to have in your team because he winds everyone up. That is someone we need, either in the striker position, either in midfield. We need one of those players. Genuinely, we need one of those. How about Šeško at striker? That's the thing. Arsenal bid for Šeško. But the reason Šeško turned down Arsenal was because Arteta said to him, you will be backup for Havertz and you won't have guaranteed minutes. So what belief I have for Arsenal now to go out and sign Gyökeres, Osimhen, anyone? What trust I should have? Our players need more room to adapt. We don't need even the room. Arteta has overcomplicated things. You know, when you open up, for example, an old clock or someone like that, and you can see about 4 or 5 cogs just turning around, spinning and all that stuff, right? Arsenal at the moment have too many cogs in the team. And that is what is messing up the rhythm of the cogs actually moving. And they are basically falling over each other. They are disrupting the rhythm, it's not working, and as long as they don't take out these cogs and he doesn't stop to overcomplicate things, and he goes back to what he knows and what has worked before, and he needs to stop to be this mad genius, it's never gonna work. Ultimately, at the end of the season, as I said in the beginning of the stream, don't be surprised if we keep this up and it comes Christmas, end of the year, and we are 6th or 7th, if not 8th. Don't be surprised if we keep this up. Saka needs someone who can give him a run. Exactly. He needs run for his money so he doesn't drop results like this, like yesterday against Chelsea, and he pretty much knows he has a guaranteed spot. Generally, he needs someone. The thing is, though, according to recent reports, Arteta is not pleased with Sterling. So that loan has worked out well. Cancel his loan. Bin him. How about Sane at right wing or Dembele? No Dembele. Definitely not Dembele. Sane... You know, like, if we sign Sane and we still have Sterling here, Arteta can basically build Man City attack of Sane, Jesus and Sterling. I don't know if he thinks it's like 2019 or something or what, but God help us all. But Sane, it depends. It genuinely depends on the wages and everything, because I'm very like on the edge about Sane, very, very on the edge. I can see reasons why yes, and I have also many reasons why no. Oh yeah, Militao injured again. Exactly, he's not good for us. Definitely. We have no personality in team. We have all the yes men you can imagine. We have all the yes sir, I sir, yeah, I will do that, I'm gonna listen to you. But no, not someone who will stand up to Arteta and challenge him. Because only players who have done that at the moment is Guendouzi, who's at Lazio, Pepe, who was at Trabzonspor, but at the moment is at Villarreal, by the way, balling out at Villarreal, and Aubameyang, who plays in Qatar, if I'm not, no, in Saudi at the moment. Like, Arteta needs a sporting director, players with some personalities that will challenge him, that can actually afford to say no to him, to actually make him rethink his decisions. Because at the moment, it's a proper Arteta dictatorship at the club, and he has too much power. He makes decisions left, right, and center. He has his hand in every single cookie jar that Arsenal has, and ultimately, it's like Arsene Wenger had, and we all saw how that went. It went to the ultimate downfall of arguably one of the best managers we have ever seen. Like, arguably the best manager Arsenal has ever had. So, take that as you will. What about Vlahovic or Gyökeres? The thing is, Lukaku just signed for Napoli, so he's not leaving Conte. They have a very specific relationship in that regard. Vlahovic, maybe. The thing is, though, he already has left Arsenal and Arteta on red in his WhatsApp messages because we wanted him 3-4 years ago, and he basically said, I don't want to go to Arsenal, I'd rather go to Juventus. I'm not sure Arteta is enough of a man to try and go for him again. Because as we all know, it's Arteta way or the highway. And if you turn down Arteta once, he's so arrogant he might not do it again. Gyökeres depends. Will we drop 85 million in this transfer window in January? I don't think so. Next summer he's available for 63, which means there are at least 10 more clubs that can afford him now. Which means every single club will be in for him. And as we all know, as Arteta has said it, as Edu has said it, we don't like to get in the bidding battles for players. So that's gonna go well. Dude, Dyche would park the bus, make them drink diesel, chew gravel, bricks and all that stuff, flush it down with some extra quick drying cement, and they would basically stink out 1-0 wins like under George Graham and won definitely something. Or Gnabry, Gnabry maybe could work, but again, it doesn't fit the age profile, as the top Gunners would say. Although, we say it doesn't fit age profile. For fuck's sake, Jorginho was 31 when we signed him. Merino is 28. Like, what is the age profile? What is this bullshit? If you can play and if you're good enough, play. That's it. Sign him. If he improves the team, by the way. That's the only thing. Ruiz is the new CM for me. I wanted Fabian Ruiz instead of Merino. I genuinely wanted Fabian Ruiz instead of Merino. But obviously, the thing is about Arsenal, they have their own way, and many times, if it makes sense, Arsenal won't do it. Let's be real. Colomwani or Lee Kang-in for... I don't want Colomwani near Arsenal. For me, he's just a lanky French Nketiah. For me, personally. Yes, there is a player there, but I don't think he's a player at Arsenal who will raise the levels of the team. He's like another Nketiah. In this stage where Arsenal are, we should be signing top players. Genuinely cream of the crop players, more or less. Like, genuinely, like there's no argument. Arda Güler. I would love Arda Güler at Arsenal. 2 issues. Injuries, obviously. And what does that mean for Ethan Nwaneri? Arteta already disregards youth on many levels. We have seen it over the years. Before summer transfer window, we binned off 22 young players. And if Arda Güler comes in, that means Nwaneri pretty much is done and dusted at Arsenal on some level. What about... Dybala is past it. Dybala is done and dusted for me. 4 years ago, yes. Now, no. No. It's too late for that. Way too late for that. But yeah, I think that's the thing. Arsenal should be very careful, because if nothing changes, this 4th spot where we are at the moment, easily by Christmas, could mean we are dropping down to 8th and 9th. Our squad is thin as it is, we have injuries, and if performances don't change, if they don't improve, Arsenal genuinely will be slowly falling down the pecking order. Just look, Man United has had arguably one of the worst, if not the worst season in the last, let's just say 10-15 years. Right? and they are only 4 points behind us. Only 4 points behind us. And we have conceded the same amount of goals as Manchester United, by the way. Yes, we have scored more. That's the only reason why we are 4 points ahead. It's very, very, very close. It's very edgy and it's very nervy, I'm not gonna lie. Lautaro Martinez could work. The thing about Lautaro Martinez is, first of all, he just signed a new contract, so he would be hella expensive. He would be hella expensive. Yes, he's not playing regularly, I will admit to that. Thuram is playing in front of him. For me, the issue with Lautaro is he misses very easy chances many times. He arguably was the sole reason why nearly Argentina didn't win the World Cup, last World Cup. He missed about 3-4 open net, empty net sitters, even in extra time, and he nearly cost Messi his World Cup title alone. And that for me is a big issue. Because we need a guy who can finish. If he gets 3 chances, at least once he finishes. We need someone like that. Or at least gets 4, he finishes at least once. Lautaro, if he's on fire, he's genuinely on fire. And that's why he is arguably very at the top of the list of many people who like him as a striker. At the same time, if he's missing, then he will be as frustrating as Kai Havertz, if not even more. That is also a big, big thing. If Palace get relegated, we should buy Wharton for cheap. I'm not convinced by Eze. Yeah, could be the case, but also could be the case that West Ham just suck, and that's why Eze is looking awful. That also could be the case. Also, it's very easy to look good in the team where you have Olise around you, players like that, and your team is flying under Glasner like they did in the second part of the season. As soon as you start to struggle, it is a bit 50-50. Rodrigo for Real Madrid is not playing him. He could... That's the thing. If Rodrigo comes to Arsenal, there's no chance in hell he's coming as a backup for Saka. This level of a player, he's not gonna hold bench. Because let's be real, Saka is the golden boy for Mikel Arteta. If he can walk, he will play. And the only way this could work is if he starts at left wing. That's the only way if this can work. Only possible way. But he needs also space to actually attack, and Arsenal don't have the space in the attack. Plus, he would cost about 70 to 90 million, and Arsenal to drop that kind of money could be the case, but also could be a big issue. Anyhow, I think on that note, I'm gonna finish it here. Thank you guys so much for watching. You have been fantastic. Big up Nathan, big up Marlon in the chat. You have been phenomenal. Thank you for chatting. Thank you for your opinions, discussions, and all that stuff. You have been phenomenal. But yeah, exactly. He's never holding bench. He either left wing or that's it. Camavinga is the replacement for one of the replacements for Modric, and that's why Modric is still at Real. And I don't think they will sell him whatsoever. There's no chance in hell. Ancelotti and Perez already have talked about it. Valverde is even worse. Valverde has 1 billion release clauses. 1 billion release clauses. Unless you pay that, you are not getting him out of there. Those release clauses on certain players in La Liga are actually wild. Genuinely wild. Yes, Valverde would cost about 120, 130 million alone, but those millions just is nuts. Genuinely nuts. But yeah, as I said, big up. To be honest, I get what he's aiming at, because we should be signing these level type of players like Valverde, Camavinga, Rodrigo, Lautaro. I 100% get from where he's coming from. But there are certain players in certain teams that are just untouchable on many levels. Similarly like Arsenal. Dude, Slot is not selling him. He's arguably one of their best performers this season. Slot arguably has unlocked Gravenberch in his best position and his best output. Liverpool's midfield is thin already as it is. They need about 2 new midfielders to actually have some depth in there. There's no chance they're selling him. But yeah, from me, that will be it for today. Thank you guys so much for chilling. Thank you so much for being here. You have been freaking fantastic. If you can do me a favor, subscribe, like the stream and everything. Leave your comments down below. Gonna be back tomorrow, see with what. Still haven't decided fully. So we're gonna see tomorrow. But yeah, for today, I am out. Take care, stay safe, have a great evening, have a great day tomorrow, and see you guys then. Peace out.